We've been tracking a few spitting rain showers around the tri-state this morning, about a 10% chance that you're still seeing it right now. But later on this week, the rain chances do spike right back up. Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Erin Ashley. We have two first alert weather days now, Friday and Saturday, both for the same thing. Rounds of rain, some thunderstorms that could be on the stronger side, and some gusty winds. And as soon as we see that pull on through, things are going to start to feel a little bit more like January. Whereas right now we're feeling pretty good, feeling pretty warm. Not looking too great though. I mean, we did see those spitting rain showers coming on through. So let's talk about your headlines real quick. We're going to be rehashing how warm it's going to be, or how warm it has been, and the rest of the week as well. And because we're warmer, we do have a few foggy mornings. Of course, we saw a little bit of fog this morning, but we have some patches of dense fog possible around the waterways, both Wednesday and for Thursday. I don't think it's going to be a widespread concern for the fog, but definitely there as we see those warmer days. And then yes, two first alert weather days now, Friday and now Saturday. We have rounds of rain and storms. It's going to be pretty breezy as well. And so those risks that we're going to be watching out for are going to be lasting all day Friday and Saturday. These gusty winds combined with some soaking rain showers. We can't rule out power outages just because you get the soil all moistened up, and one strong wind gust is all it takes to knock down utility poles, power lines, things like that. And then of course with any rain event, any event in which we have several rounds of rain, can't rule out localized flooding, and then of course slow travel is generally going to be a theme. Whereas today we've kind of just seen a little bit of rain, not really amounting to a whole lot, but it has been pretty gloomy outside. You see it on our Mount Auburn cam right now, 52, and it feels like it despite these southwesterly winds. They're noticeable. We'll take a look at the winds here in just a second, because temperatures kind of are the main weather story. They were yesterday, they are today, tomorrow once again before we see those showers pull in late Thursday. But middle 50s here in Hamilton County, and a little bit cooler up north towards Wilmington, so along 71, and a little bit out towards 74, west on 74. 48 out in Batesville. And these winds, they're noticeable. They're still gusting up to about 25, maybe 30 miles an hour. I mean, look, Connorsville, Owenston, and Hillsborough, all of the sensors picking up on a strong breeze out at the southwest up to about 29 miles an hour. And we're going to hold on to these noticeable winds throughout the day, but it's going to be overcast. It's going to be a little bit on the rainy side. I mean, we're still tracking some spitting rain, but it's mainly starting to dry up. Highs today are going to be in the mid to upper 50s. And again, many of us are already in the middle 50s. You can imagine with the heat of the day. So in the next 3 to 4 hours, we'll see those warmer temperatures nearing 60 degrees. And that's because we've seen the warm front lift. And that's why we saw a little bit of rain this morning with that warm front pulling on through. And so we're in this pocket of nice, warm, moist air. And so yes, it's going to be warm today. Temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 50s. You're noticing this breeze coming in from the southwest. It's providing us a little bit of that humidity, which is why we've seen the fog, which is why we've seen the spitting rain showers. But the cold front that's not too far off to our west, that's going to be passing on through overnight into your Wednesday, and then that's going to be taking the clouds with it, the moisture as well. You're going to see some sun in your Wednesday forecast. It's going to knock down temperatures just a little bit, but it's not going to be anything too dramatic. We're still soaking in the 50s for the next few days. And as far as the rain chances go for today, I mean, we're still tracking just a couple of those spitting rain showers. They're so light that they're not getting picked up on radar right now, so I'm not even going to bother showing you, but it is about a 10% chance that you see that. Overall, the windshield wipers not really getting their workout in today. They did earlier, whereas right now we're just gloomy and breezy. We're warm, 57, your high today here in Cincinnati, and that sunset will be around 5:31. And if you have plans after work today, after school today, what we're going to be watching out for with those clouds sticking around for tonight, and the moisture too, we're going to be watching out for some fog. But those temperatures are going to be quite mild. You don't need the winter coat stepping out the door tomorrow morning. I mean, you really didn't need it this morning either, but tomorrow is going to be another morning in which we're watching out for that. But it comes at a little bit of a foggy price. It's not too impressive though. I mean, look, maybe some patches of dense fog, but I think it's just going to be kind of a blanket of light mist, if you will. I don't think it's going to be anything too dramatic for your Wednesday morning. Thursday's a little bit different. We see more clear skies in that forecast compared to Wednesday morning, and so, I mean, you can kind of see the patches of fog are doing, this model's doing a really good job of picking up the patches of fog along the waterways. You got the Great Miami near Harrison. You have the Little Miami getting closer to the eastern side of Hamilton County. But generally speaking, the waterways are going to have a little bit more of a likelihood of dense fog, whereas the rest of us, kind of like Wednesday morning, a blanket of misty fog. Overall, not too concerning, but it is there. So tomorrow morning, waking up a little bit on the cooler side, but not as cold as where we're supposed to be for this time of year. To put in perspective, we're supposed to be seeing those temperatures dropping into the mid to low 20s overnight, and we are barely getting into the 30s. I think some of us will get there. Batesville, Connersville, Middletown, Wilmington, the usual culprits for the colder temperatures, whereas the rest of us will be in the low 40s, which means, I mean, tomorrow is going to be another warmer day. 53 your forecast high, more sun in that forecast. I would argue tomorrow's the better day out of today and tomorrow. So that's some good news here. And then Thursday, most of that day does still look dry. That's why it's not a first alert weather day. We're able to soak in a 60-degree high temperature, mostly dry conditions, but the later we get into the afternoon, especially the evening and overnight hours, that's when the rain chances are really going to start to ramp up here. And yeah, even though we're seeing temperatures in the middle 60s on Friday, we're watching out for several rounds of rain and maybe some stronger thunderstorms as well. And as that passes through, those storms pass on through, it's going to tumble those temperatures, but that's not going to happen now until later in the afternoon on Saturday. So that means Saturday, we're tracking another round for rain, and that's why it's also a first alert weather day. So being outside today, not exactly the best day to be outside, but it's not the worst day out of the next 5. If you're heading out taking the dog on a walk, just be mindful. We're still seeing some very shallow puddles out there, wet paws. Tomorrow's the better day. Thursday, going to be great. If you can time it out to where you're doing the walk, doing your outdoor activities in the earlier part of the day, looking good. That's the best day to do it. And then eventually the rain does pull on through, and the pups are going to need a bath, maybe 2 on Friday and on Saturday, depending on where you are taking your walks, of course. But watch out for the muddy conditions, and that's why the soaking rain showers combined with the winds can make for a really not only muddy situation, but also the concern of power outages, because soft soil, the mud, it's just a little bit easier to move around those utility poles. As far as the rain chances go, you're more likely to catch rain on Friday than you are on Saturday. However, it's more than a 50% chance that you'll see it both days. Heaviest rain still moving through the area. I'm seeing that early Friday morning. Still watching out for the potential of some thunderstorms as well. It's just that now Saturday, we're seeing a second system coming on through. So there's two rounds with the first system, and then there's 1 round with the second system. So altogether, that's like 3 rounds of moderate rain showers, some thunderstorms as well, and that's why we have 2 first alert weather days heading into your weekend. So let's time everything out for you guys here on your weather timeline, getting right into it. We do have just some spitting rain out there. This model is picking up on it in the form of a little bit of lighter rain showers, but we're still seeing just fog out there. And yeah, those southwest of Cincinnati, as we see that cold front get closer and closer, the winds are going to kick up. You're going to notice that, but those skies are going to slowly start to clear up too, in which fog is going to settle on in for Wednesday morning. I don't think it's going to be too dense, except for around the waterways. The Lunken Airport seems to be a nice area for fog developing too. And then we work into your Wednesday. You're going to see some clouds towards the first half. The skies will open up towards the second half. Temperatures are going to be back in the middle 50s. Notice the fog starts to flare up again overnight, especially around the waterways, the Great Miami, and then out towards Hillsborough too, by the lakes. And yeah, not tracking too much in the way of active weather for the first half of Thursday. That's why that's probably the better day to take a hike, go for a run. You could go for a bike ride, and it's going to be beautiful outside. And then the later we get into the day, that's when we have to watch out for this, some rain pulling on through. Now, we're going to watch out for our first little chance of rain for those west of Cincinnati right in the middle of the day. However, like we've been tracking for the last couple of afternoons, and honestly since Saturday, I'm not too worried about this. I'm worried about this pulling on through later on in the evening. And this, what you see here, I mean, yeah, embedded thunderstorms, I'm seeing this mainly as rain, but also these winds are going to be gusting up to 40 miles an hour, all while the sun is down, all while many of us are going to be asleep. There is a chance for something strong to severe. There always is with rounds of thunderstorms, especially with a line of them moving through. We're going to watch out for that, but right now, we're not sounding off any lights and sirens about that, but definitely going to be a soaking rain shower sort of day, and wake up to your Friday as well. Can't rule out some leftover showers. And then as we work into your Friday, there is going to be dry time, and that's because, like I mentioned, we're seeing several rounds, which means it's not going to be all at once. You have round number 1, they're going to take a break. Round number 2, take a break. Things like that. And yeah, you'll see some dry time for your Friday too. And then we see another round pulling on through overnight into your Saturday, and then a third one rather. And this one that you see here, while I'm not tracking much, if any, in the way of thunderstorms, that's looking like the breeziest that we're gonna get. I'm seeing winds gusting up to 40, maybe 45 miles an hour, and with the soaking rain from the day prior, yeah, you guys get the point. Power outages, can't rule it out. Not a great time to do it because the cold air does flood in from behind, and we're going to be sitting right back into normal January cold for the rest of that 10-day forecast, which I'll show you here in a second. As far as the rain chances go, we were talking yesterday afternoon about the potential for some flash flooding, and because we're still seeing several rounds of rain, can't rule it out, but the totals have backed off a little bit. We're looking at about an inch of rain, give or take, when everything is said and done. Okay, so moving on to your temperatures now. I mean, we've talked so much about the rain chances. What happens after? We get cold, but not too cold. We get seasonally cold, which after 5 days above normal. I know it can kind of be a shock to the system, but I don't want to give off the impression that the cold that's going to be following these showers and storms is going to be extreme, because it's not. We're tracking temperatures overnight dropping. I mean, they're going to be freezing, so bear in mind, it's normal to see that, but middle 20s, maybe the low 30s, and that's going to be lasting through that 3rd week of January. And then your high temperatures follow a very similar route here. We go from above normal to normal. We're not going below normal, and that's anything but normal for what we've seen over the last month and some change, but it'll be nice to see a nice stretch of normal temperatures right around the 40s, the low 40s for those daytime highs, and that's going to continue for the next few days. But yeah, tale of two halves here in your 10-day forecast. We got 50s, 60s, active weather, and then we start to calm down a little bit, but we're also cooling down significantly as well. We're seeing those morning lows in the 20s, afternoon highs in the 40s, but that is January for you. All right, let's see if you have any questions coming on in before we go into your first alert extended forecast. Erin's tuning in. Good afternoon, Erin. Hope you're doing good today. You too, Erin. I'm always glad to hear a fellow Erin tuning in into the comments. Thank you for tuning in as always. Hope you're having a good one. And Mike, you as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great day yourself. Okay, let's roll on into that 7 to 10 day first alert extended forecast. Same information, just in a different way of showing you. Here's everything you need to know. Today, gloomy, breezy, warm, 57 your forecast high. And then overnight into your Wednesday, watch out for some light fog moving through the tri-state. That could affect your commute, especially if your commute involves a bridge. We can't rule out some more dense fog around the waterways and the rivers. And then we'll see some sun in the afternoon, a high of 53 degrees. Now Thursday, Friday, those are the warmest days out of the week. I'd say between the two though, Thursdays you're gonna be, that's the better day, just because we're seeing mild temperatures, mostly dry air that day, 60 degrees. And then the storms start to pull on through. That keeps temperatures pretty steady overnight into your Friday, only dropping into the mid-50s, but then those showers and storms are going to continue throughout the morning. Now, we are going to see some dry time in that first alert weather day. It's going to allow us to gather up some heat again, 63 your forecast high, but then we also need to be mindful that any heat that we are able to regather between rounds can provide a little bit of extra fuel, a little extra oomph, if you will, to the next round of showers and storms. So there's a possibility of some strong to severe weather with this. We're going to be getting a better idea of how that's going to behave, the timing, the threats, everything you need to know as we get closer. It's just something that is quite literally on our radar because it is possible. Now Saturday, scattered rain. We're going to see a few storms in that forecast with highs in the upper 50s, but then the arrow, still hanging on to that arrow, can't seem to shake it because temperatures, they're going to be dropping throughout the late afternoon into your evening and dropping pretty quickly because we're seeing daytime highs on Saturday in the upper 50s, waking up Sunday morning in the 20s, which again is normal, but it is a very different change of pace stepping into the second half of that 10-day forecast, in which daytime highs are going to be near normal in the low 40s, but overnight lows are going to be freezing, normal in the 20s, and we don't seem to track any snow, at least until Thursday of next week, but more likely than not, that's probably going to change. Just something to keep an eye on. Okay, any other questions coming on in? I'm not seeing anything else. I want to talk a little bit about how the last few weeks have behaved, because while we're starting to approach a little bit more of a normal week in weather in January, and I know that now that we're talking about it, it's going to start to change up. But anyways, as we start talking about normal, I want to provide a little bit of perspective here because we have been anything but normal consistently since November. I mean, hopefully, let me expand the graphic for you guys because, yeah, the days you can see there are at the bottom. It starts with December 6th. It brings us all the way through December. So the first half of December, I don't need to be the ones to tell you, it was snowy, it was cold, bitterly cold in the middle of it. And then those temperatures, as we approached Christmas, rebounded. Opposite direction. We were above normal for several days up until New Year's, and then we saw some snow, and then it got messy, and then it got cold, and now we're back in the opposite direction. We're going to be watching out for those above normal temperatures, and then eventually this graphic, if everything holds true to the forecast, will start to level out a little bit, which maybe the new normal is anything but normal. Basically, that's what this is saying. But I do want to give you guys another outlook on what to expect heading into that approaching, I should say, that third week of January, in which temperatures don't look like they're leaning one way or another. Right near normal, that's what the gray means. So that could include a few warmer than average days, but also a few colder than average days, or it could mean a nice stretch of pretty inactive weather, which that's what this is showing us. Looks like precip is going to be a little bit on the drier side for us here in the tri-state. So if everything holds true to our 10-day and to the last couple graphics that I just showed you, looks like things are going to start to calm down a little bit into that as we approach that third week of January. All right, you guys, the time now is 12:18. If you feel so inclined, you can follow me on my social media, Meteorologist Erin Ashley, and then Erin Ashley WX on literally everything else but Facebook. I post pretty often about what to expect, and as soon as the weather changes, I mean, I am on those social media handles, giving you guys that latest information, giving you guys the First Alert update on what to expect. And with First Alert weather days, make sure you have that Fox 19 First Alert weather app at the ready to get you guys ahead of the storm. But for now, signing off here in Queens Gate, I'm meteorologist Erin Ashley. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.